To finish out the year, it's time for another edition of my series highlighting zoos that may not have the big name recognition, but that I personally grew up visiting and make my pitch for why they are worth checking out. As was unanimously requested after my last episode in this series, it's time to spotlight the zoo I've visited more than any other. Binder Park Zoo opened in 1977, making it on the newer side for an AZA zoo. In 1999, the zoo more than doubled its footprint with the Wild Africa expansion, which really put the zoo's name out there for the first time. The zoo now technically boasts a 433-acre footprint, although much of that is undeveloped, which gives Binder Park a unique combination of, in ways, feeling like both a large and small zoo. I spent so much time here growing up, visiting for the first time when I was just a few months old, and as often as once a week at times as a kid. I later spent 5 seasons working in 3 different departments, so my bias in favor of this zoo is substantial to say the least. Ironically, I believe 2025 is the first year of my life that I have not visited Binder Park at least once, but let's discuss why you should. Starting with the setting. I personally enjoy zoos and zoo exhibits that are built in and around nature, and Binder Park falls into that category. The zoo site is mostly composed of woods and wetlands. There's multiple opportunities for extended walks through the woods, and a large pond separates North America from the rest of the East Zoo. I would also be remiss if I didn't mention the Swamp Adventure Trail, though it has not been accessible for many years now due to frequent flooding. It was a 0.8-mile boardwalk loop through otherwise undeveloped wetlands and more woods that was a highlight of many of my visits as a kid and will hopefully be accessible again someday. Even without the swamp trail, the zoo setting means that it's not just the zoo animals that you should be on the lookout for. In addition to the hundreds of chipmunks that you're guaranteed to see, in my many years of visiting, I've seen countless other wildlife, including birds like waterfowl, sandhill cranes, and even pileated woodpeckers, numerous reptiles and amphibians such as garter and water snakes, and several species of turtles, including soft-shells and snappers. You could spot wild deer, and I even saw wild red fox kits on one occasion. Moving on to the actual zoo animals, though you'll cover a lot of ground to see them all, Binder Park's collection is more comparable in size to smaller parks like nearby Potter Park, currently displaying around 60 species. But which of them should a zoo enthusiast be excited to come across? While the zoo's primate collection isn't large, it is noteworthy, with 3 species of lemurs including less commonly displayed collared brown lemurs, and not 1 but 2 species of mangabeys, a primate group that is being phased out in the US. The zoo's quartet of antelope on the savanna, particularly the waterbuck, are less common to find in AZA zoos, especially all together, and a couple newer arrivals like the double-wattled cassowary and tiny blue duiker have added some uniqueness to the collection as well. Given that I emphasized at number 5 that Binder Park is built in and around nature, it should be no surprise that this allows the zoo to have some very nice animal exhibits. While I am mostly going to focus on Wild Africa in this section, I first want to shout out the Buttendorp Drew Wolf Den, one of the East Zoo's more recent additions, opening in 2021, as the second largest habitat in the zoo to continue Binder Park's legacy of caring for endangered Mexican gray wolves. There's the opportunity for close-up glass viewing at one end, and viewing along the entire front end of the habitat gives you a good chance at seeing its residents, though the combination of thickets, tall grasses, and small hills give them plenty of privacy should they choose. Moving over to Wild Africa, many of the habitats have seen minimal changes since they opened in 1999 because they haven't needed them, such as a large sloping hillside with wooded edges for cheetahs, and what I would consider the zoo's most underrated habitat, a large open woodland for red river hogs, considerably more space than is usually allotted for this species. Just down the path, the previous forest aviary now similarly offers more than enough space for the zoo's blue duiker. Wild Africa's one major addition since its opening, 2017's Chai Pride Plaza upholds the high standard of the complex's habitats with solid natural environments provided for lions and painted dogs. On top of that, the plaza contributes to my number 2 reason to visit Binder Park Zoo, the Wild Africa theming. It actually starts way before the Chai Pride Plaza, before you even arrive in Wild Africa, when you're offered a complimentary ride on the Wilderness Tram that transports you from the East Zoo through the woods to the African village. From there, the entire complex is themed as Zuri National Park, encouraging you to believe you're coming across wildlife as you explore a national park rather than at a zoo. Although some elements of this messaging have been lost to time, there is still anti-poaching theming along the trail, like a pile of ivory at the ranger station. And as I alluded to, the Chai Pride Plaza has its own theming as a fictional tea company, and the secondary viewing for the lions is the Chai Pride tour bus, which is the best way to see them if they're hanging out toward the back of their exhibit. Which leaves us with number 1. Some of you may have realized I omitted one habitat from my list in number 3, which is because I believe the Wild Africa Savanna deserves a spot all to its own. I've gushed about this exhibit on my channel before, so prepare for some repeated words. I visited over 30 zoological facilities, many of which have some variation of a mixed species African savanna, but I've yet to come across another habitat quite like this. One aspect that sets it apart from other savannas is the terrain, a big sloping hillside rather than the many mostly flat savannas found at other zoos. Most of the habitat is open tall grasses, but there is sand pits in the middle and even a wooded portion at the far end. While there is some private corners where the animals can tuck themselves away, there is expansive viewing mostly from elevated boardwalks and overlooks running the length of the habitat, and 2 ground-level boma huts in the middle that get you closer to the savanna's residents. Speaking of the residents, while none of the species are uber rare in zoos, altogether the giraffes, 2 subspecies of zebra, addax, bontebok, Aldra gazelle, waterbuck, ostrich, marabou storks, and cineris vultures are a unique mix that I haven't seen at other facilities, and as I've stated before, this exhibit on its own makes Binder Park Zoo worth a visit. And that's a wrap on this edition of Top 5 Reasons to Visit, and on Derek's Zoo videos for 2025. But many exciting new adventures await us in 2026. Thank you for watching.